Hallmarkies, welcome back to the Hallmarkies podcast. Today we have another episode of Once Upon an Upside covering our recent September movies from UPTV. I am Amy and I'm here with my co-host Jess.
Hey everybody.
And we have a very special co-host with us today, Kari.
Hey guys, good to be here.
Yay! Okay, so today we are covering three movies called Same Time Next Week, Cookie Mobster, and Love Unplugged. So if you haven't watched those yet, go back, watch the movies, and then come back and listen to this, okay? But let's get started with Same Time Next Week. So this is about a woman named Sarah, her sister-in-law Maggie, and then Dr. Ryan, and Teddy. I just wrote Chris McNally. I didn't write it.
It's Teddy. Yeah. It's Teddy in this one.
I was like, just Chris McNally, just him. You know, that's his name in every movie. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. So at least I didn't write Lucas from Michael. So Sarah in this movie has just recently lost her husband, which is of course Maggie's brother. And it starts off with her breaking her arm. And meeting this handsome doctor in the emergency room, which they later meet at the cemetery, find out that they're both going through a loss of a spouse, and they end up finding out they have a lot in common, spending a lot of time together. And while this is all going on, Maggie's having a secret relationship with their contractor, Teddy, played by Chris McNally. And it goes on from there. So very interesting movie. So let's start out with you, Kari. What did you think of this movie? What's your initial thoughts?
Oh my gosh, I had never seen this movie before. So even though it had come out 3 years ago, I think it was 2017, I have to tell you, this is a 10 out of 10 for me. I loved this movie. It was so good. It hit all the feels for me. It was, I loved the actors and the actresses who were in it. I had seen Dr. Ryan recently in, the summertime movies that Hallmark plays, but he was in Summer Love with Rachel Lee Cook and, someone else, I forget right now, but he was really fun in that movie too, a totally different character. But this character, Dr. Ryan, I mean, you like him right away, with he's on this bad day and you feel for him, you feel so bad for him, but he's just so compassionate. I mean, I give this a 10 out of 10 for sure.
Okay, Kari is just skipping to the end. She's just confirmed. Okay, we got it. All right, Jess, what about you? What were your initial thoughts?
I like it. That's how much I'm like, I just have to say. So good.
I also really like this movie. I thought they had really good chemistry, and I thought they played the initial awkwardness really well, because they were both widowers, and so it's kind of awkward getting back into the dating game, and I thought they did that really well. I wish they had even more time. I wanted more of the main two, and a little bit less the side story. I was a little less invested in Chris McNally, aka Teddy, and that story. But I really liked it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one as well. It had really good, funny moments. I mean, we had everything from karaoke to riding power bikes or motorbikes or whatever, to a wedding. And then we had super heartfelt scenes as well, super emotional things too, which I think was awesome. We also got two of Ryan's patients were getting married in this movie. That was Ellie and Nate. What did you guys think of them and their characters in the hospital and their wedding and everything?
At first I was like, who are these people and what do they have to do with anything? They became more involved as we went along with the dancing and obviously the wedding, but at first I was like, this is really weird. Who are these people? And they're very strange.
I kind of thought the same thing. At first you think they're passing characters, but then they actually play a big role,
right
towards the end. And I thought that they were treated older than they actually are, they're a nursing home couple and everything, second chance at love, and or second time. I liked them a lot, but it took me a while to figure out, I'm supposed to kind of invest in them too. Actually, They're going to be around a little longer.
Yeah. At first, it just kind of seemed like they were just his, like, one of his regular patients that was just, you know, I was like, maybe we're going to see a couple of his regular patients. Maybe that's going to tie into the story
Right.
or something. But, yeah, so there was a quote I wrote down that I thought was particularly funny. I wanted to see your thoughts on it. So when they first see each other at the cemetery, and he says to them, or he says to Sarah, Ryan says to Sarah, well, it's better seeing you here than at the emergency room. I was like, arguably cemetery, emergency room, both not.
That's hilarious. You're right, Amy. That's so funny.
Like, I mean, I really wouldn't want to hang out at either places with anyone normally. But
Right. Cemetery. Hello.
I guess it means she's not injured, so that's something.
Right.
But I thought
that is so funny. No, I thought that was sweet. I liked how they kind of, you know, alluded to the passage of time by the different pies that they had at the diner. You know, each week they tried a different pie, and so you just see these pies coming over and switching scenes and different conversations. I thought that was clever.
Yeah, I really liked the whole pie montage. I thought that was really cute, and the waitress was hilarious. She's just kind of this like crotchety woman. And then I think at the end she like sees that he's down and like gives him the extra whipped cream.
Yes.
Like, here you go.
You're right.
Such a great, like, she was such a great character. I was like, oh, I love her. Okay, so we get some fun scenes too. Like, so basically throughout this movie, Sarah is trying to finish her husband's lists of things he didn't get to finish before he passed. And one of the things was karaoke. So she does karaoke with Ryan. And what'd you think of their song choice? Oh, Susanna.
It wouldn't have been my first choice.
Mine either.
You know how they say everyone's supposed to have like a go-to karaoke song and everything. Like, I just wonder if one of them just that was it. But probably not, because they never go karaoke anyway. But I don't have a go-to karaoke song. Maybe.
What about you, Jess? Are you a karaoke frequenter?
I have never done karaoke, at least like live. I mean, when I was like a kid, we had a karaoke machine, but not like live in a bar karaoke. I've never done that. So maybe that should be on my bucket list too. Yeah. And I'll say, oh, Susanna.
Yes. On our Hallmarkies podcast retreat someday, we're going to all go sing karaoke.
We're gonna do it. It's gonna be like a total Hallmarky weekend, is what it should be like.
Just oh my gosh, that'd be great.
Montage.
Yeah, it would be great. And then one of the other things she did that I thought was fun, she did stand-up comedy, and I think for a first-timer, I think she did pretty good.
I know, rough crowd, right?
I know, she's putting herself out there. Like, come on.
And like, Sarah's a pretty punny lady. I mean, her suggestions for the title or the name of the bookstore were pretty punny. I mean, one of them was like, that's the way the bookie crumbles. Like, it's pretty punny. Like, she's a pretty punny lady.
Oh, speaking of the bucket list, you know, that she was completing the tasks and stuff, there was tons on there, by the way. I like want to peek at this list, but I thought it was a really precious turn of events when he and her sister, I think, or her sister-in-law, asked her, well, what's on your list? You know, like, what's on your bucket list? And she was able to kind of think through that for herself a little bit and kind of start that healing process and say, yeah, my life is for the living too, and I'm part of that. I thought that was cool, how both of them had that insight, like, well, what's on your list? You know, this is really cool, but yeah. Flying a kite was on her list. I guess that was the number one thing.
I was like, oh, that's like so sweet. That's like a childhood thing. Like, wow. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Teddy and Maggie. So what did you guys think initially when, you know, he's in his hard hat or no, he's not in the hard hat, he's in a suit and they're in a construction site, and what did you guys think? How did you guys feel about that scene?
Jess?
I don't remember that scene.
When he proposed? It's like the first scene I was in.
Okay, so
I think I was just taken aback because we had just, well, okay, I kind of don't remember it. I think I was just taken aback because we like didn't know anything about them, and he's like all of a sudden proposing.
Yes, you're right. It kind of like they worked backwards with that relationship. Like all of a sudden he's proposing, but now then we have to get to know them throughout the movie, which I kind of I found that a little frustrating because he was a little moody, and rightly so. You know, he wanted to be, you know, he wanted to have their relationship out there and not have it be a secret and everything. And but he was kind of moody too about it. And I was like, oh, that's a red flag for me a little bit, but he proved himself in the end.
Yeah. Well, what really confused me about these two was like, they're obviously getting engaged, but they had somehow managed to hide an entire like they've obviously probably been dating for months. How did they hide their relationship that long from Sarah? I mean, this seems like so crazy to me. They were able to hide it that long to the point of being able to get engaged and her never know.
And Maggie just like yelled at him every time Sarah walked in the room, and she's like, sorry, like the pretense.
Like, I'm sure Sarah felt like, because at some point you'd feel bad and be like, wow, my sister is really screaming at this contractor. I feel bad for the contractor.
I know.
Poor guy. He's just really not going through the ringer. Jeez.
You know, I did feel like, though, their last conversation kind of about like, you know, he kind of said, Maggie, you know, you don't want to marry me. And she's like, no, I do. It's Sarah. I want to, you know, be careful of her feelings. And she's just getting over, you know, my brother's passing. But he likes like, no, it's you actually. And I thought that was kind of cool. That put some depth to their relationship to me at the end. Like, he was insightful. She searched her heart and was like, I don't want to get married without my brother. I can't imagine that. You know, he was supposed to walk me down the aisle, all this stuff. So that was cool to me, actually. Like, it kind of redeemed their relationship to me, where I was like, all right, I'm on board. And that was at the end.
Yeah.
Where it was more him kind of understanding their grieving, which was, a great part of that. And I do like how when Sarah found out, though, when Teddy just like told her, Sarah was very happy for them. Like, she was excited. Like, she wasn't upset. That wasn't her first reaction. So,
right.
But yeah, that was sweet, so sweet. And then at one point, because his nurse friend, whose name I cannot recall, Ryan's nurse friend, was a big part of this movie as well. And she was kind of like criticizing him for being all happy and humming, and he's like, happy people hum.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, she was cautious, you know, as a friend, and she had seen him go through this loss of his wife, and she's trying to set him up with other people and stuff, yet she's cautious when he actually finds someone that he's interested in. And I mean, I think that was true to form for what friends probably go through when they watch friends grieve, you know.
Definitely, yeah. So, all right, let's get into a little bit of the sad part, not the sad, the emotional parts of this movie. Okay, so I think they very much displayed a lot of realistic feelings in this movie. You know, the feeling like everything is too soon after a loss, or like she went through the process of like hiding her sadness from others because she knew they were sad as well. And, you know, at one point when she is talking to Maggie and they're finally, you know, opening up with each other, she just says, you know, I just need to be sad right now. And I think that's a thing that maybe, you know, people need to do more. Sometimes you just need to be sad, and you got to do it. So what?
That's okay.
Yeah. What did you guys think of some of these more emotional moments throughout the movie?
Yeah, I think they did it really well. I think especially like the part where she like, you could tell she was really conflicted in like boxing things up, and then like Teddy came in and she realized at that point that it was like the anniversary of something, and then she like felt guilt again. And so I think they did a really good job of showing those like conflicting emotions of like wanting to hold on to what you have, but also knowing you like at some point it's okay to move on and go and start to, you know, continue in that process. So I thought they did a really good job.
Me too. I really do. I feel like they handled the complexity of grief really well, actually. You know, where you, well, I don't know, just watch the movie, I guess, but they handled that well. It's not just happy, sad. There's so many millions of emotions and reactions that go between happy and sad, happy and sad. And this actress was just really whimsical about it. I feel like, you know, she handled her sadness really genuinely, I think. But then she was able to laugh and appreciate laughing with someone else too. And yeah, I was just really impressed. I mean, obviously, since I already gave it a 10 out of 10, but I was really, really impressed with how they handled the emotion of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. 100%. Yeah. So finally, we get to the end of the movie, and he's at the reception for his patient, and she gets on that motorbike
Again.
To get to him, which I think was so funny. And then Ryan gave a very heartfelt speech about his wife who had passed. And what did you guys think of those last few scenes, and then the scene where they open the bookshop?
It was nice. Yeah, like you said, it was really heartfelt. And then I really like the name they gave the bookstore, which was The Next Chapter, because for them that's kind of like signifying like where they were going was like their next chapter. So kind of brought everything full circle for them.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was really precious, that he said it in his speech in the next chapter, and that made sense to her. And like you said, they can move on together without forgetting, or trying to replace each other's spouses before them. And that was just really nicely done, I thought.
Definitely, yeah. All right, so final moments here. We've heard Kari's 10 out of 10 rating. She's 10 balloons.
I'm sticking to it.
10 balloons. All right, Jess, what are your balloons? How many balloons are you going to give it out of 10?
I gave it 8.5.
8.5 balloons. Good.
It's pretty high for me. I usually don't. I don't think I've given anything a 10 out of 10.
The only thing I don't know about Hallmark. I'd have to go back and probably listen to the millions of episodes I've done at this point. But for Up, I think the only movie I've ever given 10 out of 10 to is Christmas Movie Christmas, which I talk about on
I knew you were going to say that.
I missed that. You said is what?
Christmas Movie Christmas. It came out last year.
It'd be Christmas.
For Christmas? Yeah. It was
it was like a parody about Christmas movies almost.
And as a person,
or Up?
I was on Up last year. It was
gosh, I'm writing this down. If you gave it a 10 out of 10, this is worth looking up. Okay.
Christmas movie. Yeah. So I gave this movie we just talked about, I gave it a 9 out of 10, which is probably one of my highest scores. But the reason I love Christmas Movie Christmas so much is because over the past 3 years with Rachel, I think I've covered well over 200 Christmas movies at this point. So to see a Christmas movie that was making fun of the things that I watched so much of, it just brought me so much joy.
Yeah, it was really comical. It was funny. I liked
you were
it.
in on the joke or something.
Yeah, it was like everyone was in on this joke of like we're ridiculous. Like sometimes I feel ridiculous. I'm looking at the schedule for this year and I'm like, I'm on track to watch like 85 Christmas movies right now. Like, what am I doing to myself?
Yes. Yeah, I thought this was such a good one though. I mean, I'm gonna have to keep track of my 10 out of 10s that I've given because I'm new to this with you guys. But this, for the Up Network, this was good for me. I loved it.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsors for this episode of the podcast. They are the good folks over at Care Of, and they've been a sponsor for us for quite a little while, and we're very grateful to them. And they have high quality products, meets personalization. I think that's what makes them special. And all of Care Of's products are formulated with good for you, clean ingredients that are backed by science. And they are super transparent about the research and sourcing behind all of their products. And you get individualized recommendations that come in daily, individual wrapped packets that are perfect for getting back into a routine. We all are sort of struggling with that right now. And you have, even has your name on it. They're very individualized. And the way that they become individualized is they start you off with you taking their 5-minute online quiz. And this quiz, it asks you about your lifestyle, your belief in vitamins, how you feel about that, your lifestyle, your skepticism, your health concerns, all that stuff are taken into effect. And then you are given with your recommendations for what you should be taking. And that's very, very helpful. And you can adjust your pack at any time. It's like having a one-on-one consultation with a nutritionist, all without leaving your house. And I know when I took the quiz, I was able to narrow down to my sleep needs as being my highest priority. So I was able to get some of the Dream Team on the go quick sticks, and those have melatonin as well as other properties that are good for helping you to sleep, and they've been great. It's a wonderful service that they offer and makes things quick and easy. You can have it delivered, you can have it on a regular basis, or you can individually order your vitamins. Important for all of us right now with fall coming on that we fall back into a healthy routine. As the season changes, it's important to get ahead of taking care of your immune health. It takes about 30 days for your body to adapt to new nutrients. So now is a great time to update your vitamin and wellness routines to help support your immune system this fall. Care's products go beyond vitamins and supplements to include protein powders and boosts to help supplement your workouts as you move indoors in the colder months. So you will really find it helpful. For 50% off your first Care of order, go to takecareof.com, enter code Hallmarkies50. That's new code. So go to takecareof.com, enter code Hallmarkies50. It'll be great for you. You'll really love it. And thanks so much.
That was all in all good movie. Same time next week. Great job, Up. Let's move on. Ooh. Move on to the next one. So this next movie is called Cookie Mobster. And it is what it sounds like, guys. So this is about a former mobster named Joey who makes a deal with the FBI to testify at a trial. So he goes into the witness relocation program and ends up going to the small town of Sunnyvale, where he ends up hanging out with a bunch of Sunny girls, which are basically just Girl Scouts.
Girl Scouts, yeah.
Yeah, but they couldn't get the name. It's chaos from there. You know, he helps them bake cookies. And it's, yep. That's the end of my summary. Jess, what did you think of this movie?
It was something.
It was something.
I mean, I get what they were trying to do, but it just didn't work for me. I thought it was weird and it was confusing, and there's just a lot of things that did not make sense to me. And yeah, I think it needed some work. But I will say, the child actors are really good. I thought they all did such a good job, the child actors. So I'll give them that.
All right, Kari.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of this one.
Oh goodness. What do you think of this one, Kari?
Well, so I see that it's from 2014, which even for 2014, I think a mobster in the witness protection program was like super used plot. You know, like that's more like a 90s movie to me. Honestly, I feel like my 13-year-old self would have loved this movie. I really do. Like, just it had so many stereotypes and we don't see that really too much anymore, playing into the Italian stereotype, the mobster stereotype, the mean mom. I don't know, like that was the other troop's mom. She was like not so great, like Mean Girls, but I was trying to give it a chance. Let's just put it that way. I was trying to write down funny things, I didn't like it, but I don't know.
There was a lot of plot holes, I felt like. Like, there was just a lot of things that they never addressed about this movie.
Like what?
Yeah. Like everything that was done in this would never have happened in real life, because this random guy you just met, you don't let around little girls.
No,
right.
Don't take
that was one thing.
Overnight. I wrote that down. I was like, as a mom of another one of these little girls, I would have freaked out if you had told me.
And he didn't come back, and they didn't even call the police. Like, I would have called the police if somebody didn't come back.
I know. Like, where are the parents of these other kids?
Oh my word, it was so weird. So here's one thing though. I thought Joey, the main guy, was super charming.
Yes.
I thought he was so good. I mean, and so fun. He was a a stereotype, of course, but he was charming and he was funny and sweet. And he totally had these Sky Masterson vibes from Guys and Dolls with his big vocabulary and his nice suits. And I liked him a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if you guys have any experience with Girl Scouts, but I was in Girl Scouts from 1st to 12th grade. I still work with Girl Scouts to this day, even as an adult. What?
Was it pretty true to form?
Oh, no, not at all.
Did you ever have a food fight?
No. The thing is, because my mom came in when we were watching this, and we were looking at the uniforms they had, and I'm like, well, obviously they just used a brown piece of fabric because they weren't able to get the Girl Scout like logo and stuff. But we're looking at it, and basically those were real Girl Scout like badges and stuff. And so what it looks like is whoever did costuming just went into a Girl Scout shop and just picked something of every shape just to slap on there, because they had badges on there that were for like kindergartners to like 11th graders. Like, it was like,
how funny.
It was all over the place. And I was like, oh my goodness, someone just walked into a Girl Scout store and was like, oh, we'll just get all the shapes. It'll make it look right. No, it doesn't look right. Anyone who's a Girl Scout is like, what is on that? Also, brown is for people 1st to 3rd grade. Like, these girls were obviously older than 3rd grade. Yeah, it's just like really. And then my mom as a troop leader, me as, you know, I've done camps for years, and I'm always in charge of, you know, around this age group, I'm always in charge of like 30, 12-year-old girls most summers. And I was like, oh my gosh, we never let anyone we don't know anywhere near the girls, like, let alone the stuff that they were doing. I'm like, oh my goodness. Also, we don't make our own cookies. Like, Girl Scouts haven't made their own cookies since like the 60s. Like,
right.
It's a bakery. Like, it's just wild. It's so wild. And the idea that, oh, the troop has to disband if they don't make enough money from cookie sales. I was like, no, this is nothing. If you guys want an accurate Girl Scout movie, there is a movie that Hallmark did in partnership with Girl Scouts for their 100th birthday in 2012. It has Bailey Madison in it.
I've seen that one. Yeah,
I can't remember the name of it right now. It is fantastic. It was really, really great. I was a Girl Scout during the 100th birthday. I was what, like 11 or no, I was like 13 or 14 during the 100th birthday. It was a fantastic movie. We got to all see it as Girl Scouts. It was great. They did a great job with Hallmark. It was actually Girl Scout approved. But this movie, I was like, oh goodness. I hope this is not how any of the leaders work with their girls, because there's so many dangers.
Yeah. And like what surprised me too was like at the end, she must have learned out, like, they didn't really address it, but she clearly had to learn he was in the mob, and she was like, at one point she was like, whatever, okay, let's get married. Like, you don't have any questions about what he did in the mob?
Oh goodness.
Very trusting mother is what we learned in this movie, is that this mother is very trusting of people.
Very trusting, you know.
Oh, definitely.
Very, very trusting. I feel like, I don't know what to feel about it, actually. I'm grasping for straws here about some of these funny scenes or some of these things, like, just because there was a problem at every turn. It was, they even said, forget about it, like 3 times. Like an actual, forget about it.
It was so stereotypical, too. Like his mom was very, 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 like, fun character, but it was very, very into the stereotypes. How
about at the camping the night out, you know, all the raccoons came and ate their food, and they were like, oh no, we have no food. And he's like, I'll go get stuff. And they're like, yeah, go get it. And then he's gone, he gets lost, all of this stuff. They're shivering around this fire and they're hungry, but it's too late to leave. And then all of a sudden they're like, I've got extra food in my bag, or the van has extra supplies. And they're like, okay, we'll be fine. I'm like, how did you not bring that up before Joey left? It was weird.
In real life at a camping trip, that never would have happened, because one, both adults left those 4 little girls alone at some point during this camping trip.
They did.
And also, they obviously didn't secure their food properly. So
yeah.
It's like, what is going on?
Funny.
Oh goodness.
So
oh
bad.
goodness. Yeah, so it was just, this movie was bonkers.
That's a good word for it.
It was just bonkers.
And I was like surprised too, like when that like they posted that girl Sally posted the video and like it went viral. Like why didn't they try to relocate him when
Again, yeah.
the video went viral? Clearly his location is compromised.
Exactly.
Get him out of there.
Their location was compromised the first time they get out of the car to his new house, and somehow the mob gets a picture of him and the FBI guy getting out of the car, and he's like, go find him, we don't know where he is. I'm like, you have a picture right there. To ask the person who took the picture. The whole thing
Made no sense. Oh goodness, this movie. Oh gosh. This movie. Wild. This is wild. All right, so does anyone have any other things before we rate this? I think we need to move on to rating.
Me too.
So I'm just gonna start off. I gave it a 3 out of 10. How about you, Kari?
You know, I was trying like to be generous, but I too, I think like 2 or 3. I can't decide. 2 or 3 out of 10. It was down there.
Yeah.
What about you, Jess?
I also gave it a 3 out of 10. I will say there was one moment, we didn't talk about it, when Joey and Amanda were alone in the woods, but I feel like they had a nice little moment. That was kind of cute. I don't even remember what they were talking about. But, so yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like you could actually kind of see them as a couple, maybe.
Yeah, there was like a little bit of chemistry there.
Yeah.
They did, the 2 of the little girls, though, in this movie, I do have to say, one was Renesmee from Twilight. The older one played Renesmee in Twilight, and she was in the Nutcracker that came out last year, too. Disney's The Nutcracker. She was the main character. And then the other little girl, I can't remember her name, but she had her own Disney Channel show, I believe Stuck in the Middle. She's the main character from Stuck in the Middle.
You know what? I think you're right, though, too, Jess, that the girls were the highlight. So pointing that out, I can see why they were they were great. They were really fun to watch.
Very, very talented young actresses. So, yes, that was very good. All right, so let's move on to our final one. We talk about Love Unplugged. So this is about a couple named Rebecca and Matthew who are recently, or maybe like a year married, and they're looking to buy a house, or Rebecca's looking to buy a house, and suddenly they're on their phones a lot, they're on technology a lot. Suddenly one night they have a blackout, and they spend a lot of time together, and they decide to go to no screen time when they're together at nights, and this causes all of this commotion. As well, while this is going on, their best friends, Amanda and Jackson, Jackson's catfishing Amanda also during this. So, yes, very interesting. What did you think of this one, Kari?
I liked it. I mean, they tried to do a lot in this movie. They really did a lot. I don't think they needed a strong side character storyline. That could have been their own movie, but it was cool. I liked the friends too. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting premise, and I liked that, you start with this couple that's off course. They're off course. They're not connecting really well. And then they, lose power for one night, you said, and then they decide, hey, that was a really great night. Let's keep doing this. And they rise to the challenge, and they date each other, and they put their phones away for the night when they're home together. And so I liked that. I thought that was really kind of a cool start, and then it kept my interest the whole time.
What do you think, Jess?
I have mixed feelings about this movie. So I really, really liked the idea of the movie of like unplugging, like spending legit time with like your spouse and all that. But I think it kind of all got like a little convoluted because, like Kari said, there was like a side relationship that to me was like not necessary, and I felt like with was there the leads' names, Matthew and Rebecca, like the dates they went on that we got to see, they were like so short. I feel like we didn't really get to see them reconnecting the way I wanted to, and so I struggled to feel that chemistry.
Yeah.
So I think if like they had lost some of the other side stuff, it would have been a really great movie. But I love the concept of it. I thought it was a really good message, especially in like today's times and stuff. It was like a nice reminder, like, let's put the phones down for a little bit.
Right.
Put the computers away. So I'm a
Yeah.
little 50-50 on it.
Yeah, it was nice. There were definitely some moments like I really like part of his job is making apps. He has to be on his computer every once in a while. So like
Yeah.
when she was like mad that he's like, "Oh, I need another minute to finish this," and then she like took his computer away, I was like that kind of felt more like a mom moment than a spouse moment.
Yes, I thought the exact same thing, Amy. Yeah.
It's like,
And he's like on the couch like, oh man. I'm like, just tell her. Like an adult man, babe, this is a deadline and this is really important and I got to do this. Let me have an hour. And she'd be like, okay.
definitely. There was just a couple things that I was like, okay, they're kind of treating each other like each other's parents every once in a while. And it was funny. But I do like the premise. I think it was sweet that they got out there and doing like we're, going on bike rides and all that other type of stuff. And the old man Ralph was super sweet in the house with all the flowers. It was really sweet. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this side romance, though. So we have Amanda and Jackson. So Amanda works at the insurance company with Rebecca, and then Jackson lives in their building. And they keep running into each other because Amanda keeps doing laundry at Rebecca and Matthew's building. And oh my goodness, does he think of the greatest idea? Note my sarcasm. I'm going to try to be her perfect man on this dating app instead of just asking her out.
I was so confused. I'm like, you've had like several meetups in this laundry room. Like you have a rapport starting. Why don't you just ask her? What part of like making a fake profile sounded like a good idea to you? And then he continued it after like they actually went on a sort of date. He continued it.
Like
no, he said, nothing else I'm doing is working, or I've tried everything out. I'm like, you really haven't.
You haven't tried anything.
You've not tried anything. This is not a good idea. Watch one Hallmark movie and you'll find this is not a good idea. Like, someone else.
Like, just watch Catfish on MTV. Not a good idea. Like, there's a whole show about it. Like, come on.
She was very gracious. She was very gracious at the
yes,
end.
she was very forgiving.
And you catfished me, but maybe I can get over that because I learned a lesson. I thought that was very gracious of her.
Yeah, definitely. She could have been a lot more angry. It was so funny to me how that did. And the thing is, though, too, that I thought Jackson knew that Amanda was Rebecca's best friend. So why didn't he go to Matthew and be like, hey, let's like plan like a movie night or something, or like all of us can hang out or whatever. Like that totally could have been another way that they could have hung out with other people without like maybe.
He had a lot of options before the fake dating profile.
I know.
So many options.
So many
I liked
opportunities.
What?
I just said there were so many other opportunities.
So many other options. I did like their meet cute in the laundry room. I thought he was really, suave, and it was like, if you just keep doing that and keep being yourself that way, you really will win her over. She really liked him.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about house hunting, which if you've ever heard me on the podcast, house hunting is one of my least favorite things in Hallmark and other movies.
Oh, really?
I'm just not a huge fan. So what did you think of their house hunting journey? And, Matthew's not totally invested in it. Rebecca's super invested in it. What do you guys think of that?
Mm-hmm.
I thought like they both had valid, like I appreciated both their viewpoints because they both really did have valid points of like, she growing up in apartments like wants to have a place of her own, but he like having like known what it can be like to own a home, and like everything that breaks is your responsibility and can be a huge financial drain. Like those are some like real life problems I thought they brought up, and like was like a very realistic conflict for them to have. as opposed to sometimes in Hallmark we have these really odd conflicts that are like, okay, misunderstanding, but this is like a legit like this is real life stuff. And so I like the authenticity of that.
Yeah, that's a good way to say that, Jess. I totally agree, because there was something, just really authentic about their conversations, even about it. Hey, this is why. And when they missed the call, for the house, and they were on their date and they were unplugged and they missed the call, and she had made a mistake and already given their notification that they would be moving out of their apartment, so they didn't renew their lease, all that stuff. I felt like that was a very realistic argument, actually. She felt really bad. He was really upset. And then she was like, wow, we really made a mistake here. We missed the call. And he was like, that's what you think the problem is? And I mean, I was like, yeah, this feels like a very real argument. This is not just for the sake of the movie, like, I mean, it was, but the writing was very good. I thought, very, in that regard.
It was very, very realistic. I agree. Yeah. I don't like getting invested in house hunting. I'm not one of those people who sit and watch house hunting shows on HGTV.
It's just depressing though, because their budgets are like $1 million. It's like, well, that's not any of us.
So then both of them, both Rebecca and Matt, had some heart-warming conversations. So Rebecca had this conversation about toupees with her boss. So what did you think about that conversation?
I liked it. I thought she was, it was fun, because it was exactly what she needed to hear at the right time. And she was giving him affirmation. You don't need that toupee, you can have confidence without it. And so he stepped out, and it was a creative way to kind of get her to realize that, she's putting her happiness in a house, and that's just a thing, so a little self-realization there. It was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. It was a little out of left field. I'm like, all of a sudden you're talking about this guy's toupee, but
is this a suitable work conversation? I'm not sure.
Apparently.
Yeah. And then Matthew sits down with their landlord and has a conversation about pets and everything. So what do you guys think about his side of the realization?
I like that as well. I mean, I liked both of them like having their own like little separate conversations. I think both of them, those like parts were really well done, and having them realize like what they needed to hear and that.
Yeah. And it's kind of cool when you can put a little more 3-dimension character, development on some C and D characters, like they have these whole little lives and these insights, and I liked that. I liked that they connected with these two characters, the boss and the landlady, and then they had him at their housewarming at the end. I thought that was great. Sorry, jump to the end there. I'm a jump to the end type of girl. You know what? I want to say one thing though that I thought was really what I liked about this movie too is I would have liked to see more on their dates and kind of reconnecting and all of that stuff a little bit more, like you said, Jess. But just the whole sacrificing what you want for the sake of your spouse, that was really well done, because we're not, you don't just get to live for yourself anymore when you're married, like sometimes you do have to put some desires aside, and they did that, yet they also turned around to try to fulfill those too for each other, him with the house and her with giving up the dream and I just want to be where you are. And I mean, that was just really precious to me that they did that, kind of like the gift of the Magi. Do you guys know that? You guys know that story a little bit? Yeah. Give up something you love for the sake of someone else, and yet they do that for you too. It's just,
yeah, it was very mutual. Like it wasn't just one-sided. They both kind of like came together on that, and that's why it worked.
That's why it works. That's why it works. Yeah, because it's genuine love that way.
Yes. So we then get towards the end of the movie. Matthew gets this job opportunity to become a teacher. He finds out, what he thinks his passion really is, teaching technology to children. And so, and then he goes and he gets her a house. He gets the house for her. They buy Ralph's house. And they have this really sweet homecoming, or no, housewarming party. And everyone's there, all these different characters we've gone through. So it was really, really sweet ending. Do you guys have anything to say about the ending?
I mean, I liked how they wrapped it up. I like tying the loose ends, you know. I like that with the teaching job and the home and the relationships and everything. I just thought that it was a satisfying ending for me because I like a happy ending. So everyone got their happy ending.
Yeah, I agree.
Cute, and a really cute puppy.
Yeah, Jackson got his puppy.
Yes, finally. Okay, guys. So, Jess, what would you rate this movie? How many balloons out of 10?
I gave it 7 out of 10.
Okay, what do you think?
I did like it. I just wanted more of the main couple and less of the B couple.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Kari?
Yeah, you know, I was going to give it a 7 out of 10 as well. It was a movie I really liked, and I think 7 out of 10 is a nice, solid rating for it.
All right. Yeah, I gave it a 6 out of 10, so pretty close. All right.
Why 6 out of 10?
It was good. I liked it, but I wouldn't watch it again. I don't normally go. I don't normally go above a 6 if I don't want to watch it again. That's kind of my thing. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So thank you guys so much for joining us today for our Up September recap. We're almost caught up on Up TV, or I think we are caught up on everything that's.
I think we are.
We're caught up. Woo!
Finally.
Finally, we've been behind for a while. Anyways, thank you so much, Kari, for joining us. I really like this. I hope to have you back on in the future. This was really fun.
Thanks, yeah, love it.
So 3 really great movies we covered from Up today. So before we go, Jess, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at JessBSW blog on Instagram and on Twitter.
All right, what about you, Kari? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Hallmark Comics. That's Hallmark_comics.
Awesome. And you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all over the internet at It's Amy Craig. And then you can find the podcast anywhere. You can search for podcasts, type in Hallmarkies Podcast or Hallmarkies Pod. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, leave your ratings and reviews. We have merchandise available. We have our Patreon if you want to support us. We'd really, really appreciate that. And thank you guys all so much for listening. We are starting the Christmas countdown here. This is one of the final episodes that will be airing that is not Christmas related. So we hope you guys are all gearing up with us. But thank you guys again so much for listening / watching, and we will see you guys later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.